Rosemary's Baby, a film that producer Robert Evans believed marked the beginning of a new genre. The 1967 novel Rosemary's Baby, written by Ira Levin, was brought to executive producer at the time Robert Evans by producer William Castle. After reading the book, Robert Evans fell in love with it and wanted to make a feature film based on the novel. However, Evans felt that a very special director was needed to adapt this book onto the big screen. He then turned to a young Polish director on the rise, Roman Polanski.
Numero uno, the new thing in colognes for men. In all the world, there are only 4 basic masculine scents.
Holy shit. No, that was Polanski. That was Roman Polanski. He's lived there for a month now. First time I seen him.
Polanski at this point in his career had made films such as Knife in the Water in 1962 and Cul-de-sac in 1966, along with a couple of others leading up to Rosemary's Baby. Both Robert Evans and Roman Polanski had a meeting with each other, and by the end of that meeting, Evans asked Polanski to read the novel called Rosemary's Baby. Polanski finished the book in one night, and the next day he told the studio he wanted to do it. He wanted to make Rosemary's Baby. The writing process went fairly easy for Polanski, as he thought nothing really needed to be changed about the novel and wrote the script in a few weeks. When casting came around, Robert Evans wanted to cast Mia Farrow to play the starring role of Rosemary Woodhouse, and Polanski disagreed, since he thought she just wasn't right for the part. After Mia Farrow was auditioned for the role, Polanski's mind eventually changed and wanted Mia Farrow to play Rosemary Woodhouse. Now, for the role of Guy Woodhouse, Amy Woodhouse's husband, Robert Redford was the first choice. However, due to some issues between Robert Redford and Paramount, which was producing the film, the creators ultimately went with their second option, John Cassavetes. Production for Rosemary's Baby wasn't always smooth sailing. In fact, there were some very stressful situations on set. One of them being the relationship between John Cassavetes and Roman Polanski. The two men started off liking each other quite a bit, but their relationship eventually turned to the complete opposite. Cassavetes was always an improv guy, where Polanski wasn't. Roman Polanski was a director that always wanted to stick to the script, and at times it was very difficult for Cassavetes and Polanski to work with each other. Polanski was also threatened to be taken off the project from the film after being behind on shooting just after the first 10 days of production. And this would ultimately be an ongoing issue throughout the rest of the shoot for the film. But this problem would then lead to another, as Mia Farrow's husband at the time, Frank Sinatra, wanted her to be in his movie, The Detective.
Nestle, you're a miserable son of a bitch.
Roderick Thorpe's #1 bestseller, a literary guild selection. Now, an adult powerhouse on the screen.
Sinatra was given the script for Rosemary's Baby by his then-wife Mia Farrow, and Sinatra told her that he did not see her in the role. And with Rosemary's Baby taking more time to shoot than expected, it started to interfere with the shooting schedule for The Detective, which Mia Farrow was supposed to shoot after Rosemary's Baby. Sinatra started to get tired of waiting for Mia Farrow, so he told her to leave Rosemary's Baby, or she can stay on Rosemary's Baby, however she'll no longer be Mrs. Sinatra. Farrow stood her ground and she continued on with Rosemary's Baby. A lawyer would then arrive in the middle of production on Rosemary's Baby and give Mia Farrow divorce papers. On June 12, 1968, both The Detective and Rosemary's Baby would open in theaters on the same day. However, when Rosemary's Baby was finished and brought to the studio, they did not know how to market the film, with the president of the studio saying it wasn't an easy film to market. So producer of the film, Robert Evans, went to a friend of his who was the head of a big advertising agency at the time called Young and Rubicam. Evans showed his friend the film, and he said this is not an easy film to sell. He told Robert Evans that he doesn't have to pay him a dime for creating a marketing campaign. However, if Evans likes the campaign and wants to buy it, he'll have to pay $100,000. Soon after, Robert Evans absolutely loved the marketing campaign that was created and took it to the chairman of the board and showed him the poster for the film. The chairman's face turned completely pale when looking at the poster and paid the $100,000. Rosemary's Baby raked in $33.4 million at the box office with a $3.2 million budget. The film was beloved by the audience. Roger Ebert even wrote in an interview, Polanski, quote, outdoes Hitchcock, unquote. However, the Catholic Church was not much of a fan of the film, as they gave it a C rating for its, quote, mockery religious persons and practices, unquote. Today, Rosemary's Baby is now recognized as one of the best horror films to ever be put on the big screen, but also one of the most cursed horror films to ever be made. It all started with the person who composed the film, and 37-year-old Christoph Kometa, who would find himself falling off a rocky cliff at a party and in a coma for 4 months, and would later pass away the year after. Producer of the film, William Castle, in 1969, was stressed over all of the hate mail he was receiving from the film and ended up having severe kidney stones and was taken to the hospital, where he started to hallucinate about the film and started yelling, "Rosemary, for God's sake, drop the knife!" William Castle would later recover from this horrifying event by the skin of his teeth, and he was grateful to be, well, walking on his own 2 feet and amongst the living. And then there's the famously known tragedy of them all, the murder of Sharon Tate. Roman Polanski's pregnant wife, Sharon Tate, and as well as some other people, were murdered in their homes on July of 1969 by the Manson family. So what do you think? Are these just plain old accidents that happened all by themselves and coincidentally happened after Rosemary's Baby? Or is it something more than meets the eye?